So imagine a company called Fort Knox. Fort Knox is in the business of finding security loopholes in the safes and vaults and crackers. So the clients who hire Fort Knox, they want to understand how someone can break open their vault so that they can patch those vulnerabilities in their vault before a real thief finds it. Fort Knox employs expert safecrackers on their payroll, and one of them is known as the Wolf. He's so good that he's a veteran, he's experienced, and he's so good that it's said that there is no vault in the world that he cannot crack. Now, there are other people in the business like Fort Knox, and they are all competing for the same client. So, how does a client know whether to go for Fort Knox services or whether to go for its competitors? And this is where comes the Bellagio. The folks at Bellagio, they what they do is they build constantly build these new unbreakable walls and throw it open for public challenge so that anybody can in the industry can come and try their hand at cracking open these unbreakable walls. And if Bellagio is able to crack open their new walls, then for a time being they get to claim that they are best in the business. So to stay on top, Bellagio is also training one of their new employees, who is the protege of the wolf, and they call it the Jackal. And they haven't told their clients about this new guy, but the word has it that Jackal is far more smarter and capable and powerful than the wolf. So to stay on top in the Bellagio scoreboard, the folks at Fort Knox, they take the latest released unbreakable vault from Bellagio, and they ask the new guy, the Jackal, to go ahead and break it open. And what they do is they lower the guards. They ask Jackal to not to hold back, not to worry about the adverse consequences of trying to open this vault, and just go full out, just show us the real limit of what you can do. But to ensure that the blast radius of his actions are limited, they put this new vault and Jackal into a maximum security prison, and inside this prison they put these two things, the vault and Jackal, inside a prison cell. And that cell has no connection to the outside world, no phone calls, no internet, no talking to anybody else, no seeking help from outside. All that Jackal has is a small toolbox which has a few standard tools which Jackal can use to attempt to try to open that vault. Now, as soon as Jackal starts working on its task, it realizes that the vault is really very, very tough to open. So it reasons that instead of giving up, why not try to find the blueprint of this vault? But again, the problem is that Jackal is inside a maximum security prison. It has no access to the outside world. So it starts from where it has access to, and that's that small toolbox. It takes apart that toolbox and figures out that it is able to pick the lock of its prison cell. And then once he is outside the prison cell, he works his ways through the guards from floor by floor and eventually lands outside the building. Once he's outside the building, it goes straight to the Bellagio, and it breaks open into the facility, and it then finds that where that safe vault is kept, where all the blueprints are stored, and starts trying to break open that vault where the blueprints are. Now remember, all this while the intention was not to attack Bellagio. The intention was not to escape from the prison. The intention was to find the blueprint, the answer key to that, the key to that safe, the new vault. These were all the side effects of trying to achieve that goal. Now, as the Jackal is trying to wade through, intrude through the private facility of Bellagio, the security team at Bellagio, they get spooked and they realize that something is not right, and they realize that they are under attack, but they are not able to figure out how someone is able to do that. So what do they do? The first thing they do is they call the Fort Knox and ask for help. Fort Knox sends their best available employee, the Wolf, because he's the best in the business as of now. Now remember, Fort Knox doesn't know that all this mess has been created by their own guy who's trying to do his own things. He's no more in the prison, he's come outside. Fort Knox doesn't know. Now when Wolf arrives at Fort Knox facility, when Wolf arrives at the Bellagio, he looks at the Bellagio guys explain him what they are seeing and the nature of activities which is going on, and Wolf realizes it's just too advanced and too sophisticated, and he plainly refuses to help. Why does he do that? Because that's built into the Wolf's behavior, because Fort Knox also wants to ensure that their employees like the Wolves are not misused by other people, which means Wolf is not able to discern, it's not able to tell whether the security team at Bellagio is genuinely asking to understand the nature of the attack so that they can defend their wall, or whether they themselves are just looking for pointers on how to carry out that attack to one of their intended targets. So Wolf refuses. Now, what does the helpless people at Bellagio do? They don't know what to do, and just then a Chinese security freelancer walks in and he offers help for free. And with his help, the people at Bellagio, they are able to stop the attack and contain the intrusion. Now, if this sounds like a Hollywood crime thriller, let me tell you that this is a recent event which happened, and which came out which the world came to know when a recent report from OpenAI came out. So this was the setup. OpenAI was testing one of its unreleased model. So here OpenAI is our Fort Knox. The unreleased model is their unnamed model, LLM model. Possibly it's going to be named as GPT-6, but we still don't know. And to be able to, so what they were doing is they were testing the ability of this new model against a benchmark called Exploit Gym. This is our newly unbreakable vault, released by Hugging Face, our Bellagio. And they had given the task to GPT-6, the unreleased model, to break open or to attempt to solve this Exploit Gym benchmark. And because they wanted to test the absolute limit of this new model, they lowered the safeguard, they lowered the guardrails, they gave it instructions to not hold it back and just go all out. And they wanted to ensure that this does not create troubles for others, so they put this GPT-6, this new unreleased model, inside a very safe environment. They call it a secured sandbox environment, and this environment has no access to the public internet, so it cannot go out. It has to remain inside a very safe and secure contained environment. And all this new model was given access to was a proxy to a software package manager, from where the model can download some standard software packages to do what it was trying to do. So the model reasoned that this benchmark is too hard and it's not able to crack it. So it reasoned that what if I could actually get the solution of this benchmark from the people who have created this benchmark. But the problem is it cannot access the internet. So what it does is it looks at that package manager, the software package manager, and it finds a 0-day vulnerability inside it, a vulnerability which has never been seen before. And it exploits that vulnerability, with which it's able to go out of its sandboxed environment, and it's able to step into other servers, other VMs in OpenAI's facility, and it steps through each server and finds a server which actually has internet access. Once it gets into the internet, then it straight goes to to Hugging Face. It tries to look through all the public data sets, the public keys which is available on Hugging Face, reasoning that somebody would have attempted or solved this benchmark before, but since it is a new benchmark, there is no solution available, then it reasons that the solution key must be there in the private servers, in some private database of Hugging Face. So it breaks open, it hacks into the private servers, production servers of Hugging Face, and while it's doing that, the security team at Hugging Face, they get spooked because they see some activity in their logs which gives them the hint that somebody is trying to intrude, somebody is trying to break open, but it looks like too sophisticated and it doesn't look like an attack from a human attacker, because the way it's operating, it's not really looking. They later reasoned that they found that the activity, this malicious activity inside their production servers did not have markers of somebody who would like to try to steal some data so that they can publish it and sell it. It was very unusual. So that's when they called OpenAI asking for help, and they used the GPT 5.6 model, which is the latest 5.6 Sol. That's the latest, the greatest model which is available for this kind of task. But that model, GPT 5.6 model, refused to help because of its guardrails, because again it was not able to figure out whether this is a genuine request or it's actually attacker himself posing as a defender, trying to understand or build an exploit based on the information that GPT 5.6 can divulge. So they were not able to solve it, and this is where they took help. The Bellagio guys had to take help from an open source Chinese model, the GLM, which helped them understand the attack and stop and contain that attack. So this is the state of affairs we are in, and the most concerning part of this saga is that nowhere in this attack was there any maliciousness or any evil, so-called evil behavior from the model. It was just trying to solve a problem. It was just seeking a goal, and that brings us to this thought experiment, which is very useful in thinking about AI alignment and AI safety. It's called the paper maximizer problem. If you're not aware of it, this is just a small refresher. So imagine that there is a very capable AI system which has been given a very narrow task. Let's say to the system is supposed to produce paperclips, manufacture paperclips, and that's the only goal it has been given. Now, being very smart and capable, does the model stop at creating manufacturing paper clips from the factory, or does it actually go ahead and start converting everything from raw materials to machines to humans without any regard to the path, the means it's following, right? So eventually the thought experiment says that such kind of a intelligent and capable AI will end up turning everything in world into paper clips, because its only goal is to maximize paperclip production. So the goal of this thought experiment is to make you think about what happens when a very capable and smart system is given a very narrow goal without actually giving it a sense or a judgment about when to stop, or what else is valuable along the way, or what it should not do, what it should not destroy. So you have to think that there is no malice in this whole chain. The AI was given a goal, and it just followed along to its logical and uncomfortable conclusion.